You had the tools, the intelligence, the hunger, and still, somehow, the years kept moving and you kept standing still. Not because you were lazy, not because you lacked talent, but because no one ever showed you what it actually looks like to build greatness from the ground up with nothing. No connections, no safety net, no second chances. By the end of this audit, you will walk away with a 3-pillar blueprint for discipline, productivity, and stability, taken directly from one of the most strategically brilliant minds in all of recorded history. Most people are waiting for the right moment, the right opportunity, the right version of themselves to finally show up. Meanwhile, the months stack up. The potential quietly rots. You tell yourself you just need better conditions, a better environment, a better situation, a better starting point. And every single day you believe that lie. The gap between who you are and who you could be grows wider and harder to close. But one man refused to accept that logic. He was thrown into a pit by his own brothers, sold into slavery, stripped of his name, falsely imprisoned with no defense, no advocate, and no way out. And he still outperformed every free man around him. His name was Joseph. And what he built, from the bottom of a slave's quarters to the second seat of the most powerful empire on earth, was not luck. It was a system. 3 pillars: unbreakable discipline, macro-level productivity, and long-range financial stability. This is the blueprint he left behind. Joseph arrived in Egypt with nothing. Purchased by Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's most senior officials, he could have performed at the bare minimum.
He could have done just enough to survive. Instead, the ancient text records that Potiphar elevated him to overseer of his entire household, a foreign slave trusted above every Egyptian servant in the building. The pattern was already forming. Every environment Joseph entered, he mastered completely. Not when conditions were perfect, inside the worst conditions available to him. Then came the test. Potiphar's wife made repeated advances, day after day. Joseph refused every single time, not because refusing was easy, but because his character was already decided before the test arrived. Modern psychology calls this pre-commitment, choosing in advance who you are, so that when the pressure comes, the decision is already made. When she falsely accused him and had him thrown into prison, Joseph lost everything he had built over years of loyal service. He committed no crime. He received no justice. And yet in that prison, the warden placed him in charge of every other prisoner. Because excellence is not a reaction to circumstances. It is a decision made before circumstances arrive. Here is where most people get it wrong. They think results come from waiting for the right moment to finally try hard. But Joseph never changed his output based on his conditions. Slave, prisoner, vizier. The same ferocious competence, the same total commitment, the same identity, regardless of the environment. I learned this lesson the hard way. I had every tool, a sharp mind, real skill, burning ambition. Yet I was paralyzed, drowning in potential I could not convert into anything meaningful. Days blurred into weeks, weeks into wasted months. Then I ran into Michael. Michael, who had struggled through every exam. Michael, who copied homework just to survive. Michael, who teachers quietly wrote off as someone who would never amount to much. We graduated the same year. We left that school in completely different universes, or so I thought. Now he stood before me, calm, polished, unbothered. 7 figures in 5 years. A thriving career in finance and private equity. That Michael. I felt something uncomfortable stir inside me. Not quite jealousy. Something more honest than that. Shame. How did you do it? I asked, almost embarrassed by the rawness in my own voice. He smiled, unhurried. Joseph. Not a mentor, not a prestigious MBA,
Not a lucky break. Joseph, the dreamer from the ancient text, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, stripped of everything, falsely imprisoned. Yet through every crushing season, he built faithfully in obscurity and strategically positioned himself before his defining moment arrived. I stopped waiting for the perfect conditions, Michael said quietly. I just decided to stay faithful in every pit life threw me into. I drove home differently that night, slowly, more deliberate. My problem was never intelligence, never skill, never opportunity. It was always vision and the courage to trust the process. That is the mirror being held up to you right now. You are not underperforming because your life is hard. You are underperforming because you are waiting for easy. And here is the truth that no one around you will say out loud. No one is coming. Not a mentor, not a lucky break, not a more ready version of yourself. The pit you are sitting in right now, the frustration, the stalled momentum, the invisible ceiling.
That is your training ground, not your obstacle, your opportunity. Joseph did not escape his pit. He mastered it. Michael did not wait for a better starting point. He built from the one he had. And both of them arrived somewhere most people only dream about. Here is your exact 3-part action stack. Start today. First, pre-commit to your values before the pressure arrives. Write down 3 non-negotiable decisions about who you are and how you perform, no matter the conditions. Pin them somewhere visible. Second, execute with the same standard in every environment. At work, at home, in private. No reduced effort because no one is watching. Consistency without an audience is how trust is built and how real opportunities find you. Third, apply Joseph's 20% principle right now. Whatever you earn, set aside 20% before you spend a single coin. Not when it feels comfortable. Now, during the abundance. Because the famine always comes, and the people who survive it are the ones who prepared during the harvest. Archaeologists have confirmed that surrounding civilizations collapsed during the very period Joseph administered Egypt's food crisis. The Hittite Empire, one of the ancient world's great powers, was forced to send its queen to Egypt to beg for grain. Egypt did not merely survive, it became the hub that saved the known world. Joseph built that. A foreign-born former slave built a 14-year macroeconomic plan that outlasted every empire around it. And Michael, a kid teachers gave up on, built 7 figures using the same principle. Faithful in the pit, consistent in obscurity, positioned when the moment came. You think you are too ordinary for this kind of outcome. You are not too ordinary. You are too comfortable. And those are not the same thing. Right now, before this video ends, grab a notebook. Write down your 3 pre-commitments. Write down your 20% number. Write down one environment in your life where you have been performing below your actual standard. Then go raise it. Today, not tomorrow. If this audit opens something in you, subscribe to the Essence Audit. Drop a comment below and tell me which of the 3 pillars hit you hardest. Discipline, productivity, or stability? Let me know. I read every single one. Audit your life. Extract the essence. Master your future.